Dominique DePrima and Tavis Smiley as the first black woman in Los Angeles to anchor a morning drive talk radio show. Dominique covers local politics like a blanket. Weekday mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., Dominique passes the baton to Tavis Smiley, who talks to everybody about everything every day until 12 noon. KBLA's dynamic duo, Dominique and Tavis. It's no wonder the LA Civil Rights Department is honoring Dominique DePrima this year at its Tell Our Story honoring black journalist leaders and storytellers event, Thursday, February 8th. Or that the John M. Langston Bar Association of Los Angeles is honoring Tavis Smiley at its 47th Annual Installation and Scholarship Awards Gala with its Community Impact Award on February 10th. We couldn't be more proud of Dominique and Tavis, who make black history every day, not just in February. If you're missing Dominique and Tavis weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Holla, yeah! Day and night, I toss and turn, I keep stressing my mind. I look for peace, but see I don't attain what I need for keeps this silly game we play. Now look at this, madness the magnet keeps attracting me. I try to run, but see I'm not that fast. I think I'm first, but surely finish last. Cause day and night, the lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. He's all alone through the day and night. The lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. At night.
Welcome in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I hope that you are having an amazing Tuesday and that you are relaxed, well rested, and ready to get into these trending topics and headlines. This is, of course, the show where we discuss all of the trending topics and headlines across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. I'm your host, Jill Munroe. And tonight, as always, we have a lot to get into. Make sure you're hitting us up on social media before we get into the topics. KBLA 1580. Follow me at Stiletto Jill. Now, as always, we have so many things to get into. Let me give you a list. First up, we're going to talk about, in hour one, Gayle King. You know, a lot came from her recent interview with The Pivot, and she shared about the time that a man she was dating asked her for $4,000, and she revealed what it was for and what the loan did to their situation. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk a little Rick Ross family drama. He is having a war of words with his son's mother, Tia Kemp, that has been invaded upon by his daughter. And we know that there was a bit of back and forth between his girlfriend, Christina, and Tia. So at what point do they remove us from the group chat? We're going to get into a little bit of what's being said and how it's allegedly is affecting the kids. So we're going to talk about that. And later in hour three, we're going to get into T-Pain. So we all know T-Pain from his hits. We know he brought auto-tune back way back in the 2000s. Well, he recently revealed that he's writing hits out in these streets, but they're not the type of hits that you're accustomed to from him. And because of racism, he's keeping it undercover. We're going to talk a little bit about that and get into, why we think that still is in 2024. In addition to that, we're going to talk Byron Allen. He's put in a bid for the global Paramount Network. We're going to get into Floyd Mayweather. He's made an offer, allegedly, kind of, subliminally, to his daughter Yaya's son's father. So we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to get into some upcoming changes with TikTok that will affect music lovers and get your opinions on that. But before we get into all of that, there's a couple of conversation starters. These are topics, things that you should be aware of because, they're important. So we've talked about the Michael Jackson biopic that's coming up next year, directed by Antoine Fuqua. We know Coleman Domingo has been cast as Joe Jackson. Well, now we have his Catherine, and it is going to be actress Nia Long joining him. And we know Michael's son is taking on the lead role as the King of Pop. We still don't know what time frame it's going to cover. We know it's supposed to cover his entire life, but to what degree and what stories we're going to hear from. They say a little bit of everything, but what is everything? We'll have to see. So that's coming up soon. Also, there is a new series that is making its way. It's based on the cast of Saturday Night Live, the original one. It's called SNL 75. And starring as Garrett Morris will be comedian Lamore. So we look forward to that. You know, Garrett Morris was the first black man on SNL way back in the day. And he endured a lot through his career. We also know him as Stan from Martin. And he's been in a bunch of other shows and films since then. But it'll be interesting to see how he's portrayed in this story. We know that, you know, Chevy Chase, Jim Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, some of the titans of the comedic scene back in the 70s all got their start there. We also have an update. Listen, there's a new addition to the NBA All-Star Saturday night. A new addition to the three-point contest, a special call-out. There's going to be a three-point challenge, which will feature Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu of the New York Liberty. They will challenge each other. Now, Sabrina is supposed to be shooting from the women's three-point line, but she recently said that she's not afraid. She doesn't mind shooting from the NBA three-point line to challenge Steph Curry. And we know Steph Curry is one of the greatest shooters in NBA history. So adding a little difference to the mix for NBA All-Star Weekend, they always try to, you know, involve the WNBA in this, and this is just another way to kind of get something going for the weekend. It's going to be in cold Indiana this year, so, you know, got to do some things to get the interest. Andy?
Ladies, don't get mad when Steph Curry destroys her.
I mean, I kind of think he will, not because she's a woman, but because he's Steph Curry. His shooting is ridiculous.
I'm just saying, no equal opportunity, right?
I mean, it is equal opportunity. She's going to have her shot. We'll see where she shoots from. I think she has a chance. I'm not saying she's going to go out there and flame out, but I expect Steph Curry to win because, as I said, I believe that he is one of, if not the, you know, greatest shooters in NBA history. And he's changed the game, and he's proven that on the court. You know, when we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. Is there a new Jay-Z project coming? All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough. This is KBLA Talk 1580, home of the 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So before I get into the Jay-Z topic, you know, it was announced today that UPS is going to be cutting 12,000 jobs. And this comes just months after they announced that they are raising the minimum salary for drivers to, I think it was 6 figures, when they negotiated a new labor contract and avoided a strike. And so, you know, there's always a cost. There's always a cost. They're going to get it where they can. It's just a reminder out there. So listen, a couple of days ago, a director put a picture out. It was like a teaser, and a video director, I should say. And it said 2024 Jay-Z album. So, of course, it got the social media buzzing. But then Rock Nation later retweeted it and said, that's news to us. So, did the director make a mistake? Did he break an NDA? Are Rock Nation being coy? Or do we have new music on the way from Jay-Z? Remember, when he interviewed with Gayle King, seemingly out of the blue, we know he had his installation, The Book of Hove, at the Brooklyn Museum, but still, seemed random. He mentioned that he was thinking about cutting his hair. And usually when Jay-Z cuts his hair, at least in the past, not the recent past, but in the past, was when new music was on the way after he finished an album. So we'll have to see. Once again, I think was 444 his last album? Believe so. And it did okay. Our audience is still his audience, because we know he's obviously not speaking to the youth, but our audience is still interested in hearing what Jay has to put out there as a, what is Jay? Almost 54-year-old man? We'll have to see. Who knew hip-hop could take us this far, right? All right, so listen. Gayle King has been all over social media the past few weeks, and always really, because, you know, her interviews or whatever, Gayle always is giving us quality interviews, and now she's giving us quality sound bites. So she recently had an interview with The Pivot, and in it she talked about the struggles that she had with dating as a divorced woman, but she also revealed that a guy, now this wasn't like a guy who you would think would have money problems off the bat. She said he had a great career, 6-figure job. You know, he was an executive type. So money wasn't an issue for him. But he asked her on a date, and she was really excited for the date. However, when they got on the date, he revealed the real reason for the date. So let's hear what she had to say in the clip.
You know, I went on a date and I was really excited, very excited about it. We had gone out maybe 2 months, and then he said he really needed to talk to me. Sure, what is it? do you think you could lend me $4,000? And I'm like, oh, God.
He jumped out with 4,000 out the gate, though?
I know. It's so
he
funny.
He didn't test the water?
You know what Oprah said? Oprah said, God, I would have felt better if he had said $40,000.
You just went in your purse. Here you go. Here you go.
Because here's somebody who was making, 6 figures, successful. And when I said, could I ask what it's for? He said, yeah, it was for a child support issue and to pay a payment on some furniture. And this was Sunday, and he said, I promise I'll pay you back by Thursday. And he did pay me back on Thursday, but I didn't feel the same. But he did, to his credit, pay me back on Thursday. But it just changed the relationship for me. It changed the relationship for me.
So, listen, I think that, we talk a lot about successful women and things of that nature. But in that circumstance, he paid her back within the time frame that he said he would. Part of it was for furniture, which is random and interesting. But what do you do with that as an older woman? Of course, it's going to change her perspective on the man, even though he paid her back. I wonder what. I thought it was interesting, though, that Oprah said he should have asked for 40,000. Like, why? Why is that number better? I guess go for broke, see what you can get, But I mean, clearly he really needed it. So he wasn't trying to scam her. He honestly, I guess, was in a bind and felt that she was the only person that he could go to, but he hadn't seen her in a while. I don't know. I think that it can be sometimes really difficult for successful women of a certain age to find sincere relationships, much like it's difficult for successful men of a certain age to find those same sincere relationships. We talked about last night, Shaquille O'Neal saying he couldn't open up to women, he felt, because they used it against him. And I think part of that is, one, we think he's heartbroken because he messed up, which he said. So there's that. But I think that there's always that element that they are going to be financially taken advantage of. And it's kind of hard because you want to be open, right? You want to explore new relationships, but the lure of money really gets to people and causes them to act in strange ways. I don't know. I probably would not have been as giving as Gayle was, but maybe she was like, I have it to give, so if he doesn't return it, no harm, no foul. We have Fahima from DC on the line. Good evening, Fahima. How are you?
Yeah, Jill, I just stepped out of the Twitter space for a moment to chime in here. But on a serious note, I mean, did he start dating her for the express purpose of hitting her up, or had they been going out for a while, and then he asked her for the money? I mean, he paid her back the money. What was the point of her even sharing it? I could see if he, had scammed her, and that was the reason why he had went out with her, so he can get this 4,000. I mean, what was the point? Obviously, he thought that they were close enough where he could ask her, and he gave her the money back. What was that to tell?
I think for her, she felt that they had only gone out a couple of times, and it seemingly was enjoyable. But the next time that she hears from him is not for an actual date. It is to ask her to borrow money. And so it seems as if there wasn't really, maybe that wasn't the thought when the relationship started. But I mean, I guess it made her feel uncomfortable because she didn't want to be in a position where she was, how you start off sort of is how you finish. And if this early on he needs assistance with furniture and child support, what happens further down the line?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, he thought that they were close enough where he could ask her for the money. And he gave her the money back. I mean, there's nothing to tell there. I don't know, maybe because I'm not in her tier financially. I'm upper poor, by the way. I don't think, I don't get it. It's not like he asked her out so he could hit her up for money because obviously they'd been out before, and then she just chose not to go out with him anymore. I mean, that was her choice. He didn't like scam her and not pay her money back. I don't get it.
So
I
you
don't see
think
the
she was
problem
being a
there.
little judgy with that?
I don't know what the word is, but I mean, he obviously felt that they were close enough that he could ask her, he could borrow money from her. He didn't scam her. He paid her the money back, for God's sakes.
But maybe she has some issues around money and long. I mean, I understand that he, followed up. And she said that, but I mean, she was also honest in saying it changed how she felt and looked at him. So I think we have to be fair and honor that. It may not be everyone's choice, but if she felt that way now, that means that it is something that potentially down the line, or maybe to Shaq's point about, how later on things, your vulnerable moments or your weak moments, and not saying Gayle would do this, but these are things that down the line, if they are something that, maybe rubs you the wrong way, if something else comes up 6, 8 months, a year down the line, you circle back to that, and that's not fair either.
But in reality, things happen in life. Okay, he's making 6 figures, but stuff happens to everybody in life. And I just feel that we should be understanding. It's not like he's like some deadbeat who's not working and just trying to get money out of women. He just was a person that was going through something, and he thought that they had a report that he could borrow money from her.
I mean, I feel like I totally understand that, but I think also maybe her question is, where is your support system? You don't have friends. I'm not saying that Andy's not feeling any of this. He is totally on your side. I'm not saying, I am just saying for whatever reason, it made her uncomfortable, and that is okay that she felt that way.
Right.
You know.
She is right. And she'll just be without companionship with that type of attitude.
I mean, but but here's the thing: when people say that, maybe if the thing is this, if that is the option, maybe she is fine with being without an option of that.
Okay.
Right. You and Andy at the same time. Okay.
I just don't think that there was a story to tell. If he had scammed her out of it, yeah, it'd be a story. But I don't think there was a story there.
I think her point was more about how a woman in her, how dating has been difficult for her, and a woman in her position, the type of situation she comes up against. And I mean, you balance that with, she does have a certain level of celebrity. She is good friends with Oprah, which comes with its own, benefits and challenges too, and preconceived notions. So I'm not sure.
But Jill, the thing is that the dude didn't scam her.
I
he felt
agree.
that they were close enough, that he could borrow money from her. Maybe he didn't want to tell his other friends, but he felt that he could confide in her.
After not talking to her for a couple months, I think to a degree she might have felt that he was, maybe setting her up to, take advantage. I think that they're.
Oh, yeah, that's a possibility because most men making 6 figures, yeah, they do that, right?
Listen. Your salary does not necessarily dictate your desire to take advantage of someone, or things of that nature. It's not one-to-one necessarily. She might have felt
right.
that, because again, she mentioned they had gone out a couple of times, but she had not interacted with him in that way.
Okay.
I don't know how long
but it was
of
a
a time.
break.
I don't know if it was a
Okay.
break. She didn't really get into the details, so I don't know if it was,
Okay.
weeks, months, or whatever.
Because
But
I got the impression they had been going out, and at some point he asked her to borrow the money. I mean, he's obviously going through some stuff. He's got child support issues and furniture on layaway. Life happens.
It does happen, and then and I think maybe in her mind too, maybe he should handle that and not be bogged down with the distraction of trying to get a new relationship to blossom in the mix of that.
Well, All right, I beg to differ, but we'll just have to agree to disagree.
Thank you as always, Fahima, for calling in. I appreciate your point of view.
All right, peace.
Peace. So, listen, I mean, I think it, boils down to, again, she said he paid her right back. It wasn't a long time period. I think for whatever reason, the situation made her uncomfortable. There may be something, it might be a trigger in there for her, might have been a red flag, but I think, being honest about those things as they come up probably save both individuals down the line for a misunderstanding or something headed in a direction where, two different communication styles. Andy?
Anybody that's trying to date Gayle King, just don't ask her for bread. Point blank, period. Because she knows she got bread, she knows she got money, but she's a woman, though. You know what I'm saying? So she's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. So just don't ask her for bread.
I mean, I think, maybe the smarter approach, maybe you should have just, taken the approach ladies used to take back in the day. Just talk about your problems and maybe she'll offer to assist.
Yeah, well, closed mouths don't get fed. So shout out to old boy. You know what I'm saying? He paid her back.
He did pay her back. And again, like, respect to that. I think it just, it made her uncomfortable and maybe set up a warning sign for her, of future situations that maybe she might not have felt comfortable in. It's possible. Let's not act like Mary J. Blige, Sherry Shepherd, a ton of list of other women who have been taking advantage of, dating men and doing things to help them in their situations. And of course, it's happened to men as well. I'm not saying it does not happen on both sides. So I think that we have to respect sometimes when a boundary comes up. You're right. She may have missed out on her calling, but he may have missed out on his by letting his pride get in the way of asking the homie.
But see, why does he have to ask the homie though? Maybe, he confided in her.
Maybe. He didn't. He asked her for the money. He didn't tell her why until she asked why. She said, "Can I ask what it's for?" And he was like, "Sure. Child support and furniture."
I mean, he was honest as hell about it, though.
He was, and I respect that, but oh no. Maybe, I don't know.
That's
one or
whack,
the other.
though. What
Not
that
both.
tells me, too, also, is that, so if they did get serious, you mean to tell me that he couldn't ask her for bread for a situation? Because
I mean, maybe maybe the time frame was too soon for her.
Well, she should have explained that then, if that's the case. I'm just saying, break it down.
Break it down, get more. Listen, when we come forward, we're going to have more trending topics and headlines on the other side. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
In his dreams, he sees the life he made. The pain is deep. A silent sleeper, you won't hear a peep, peep. The girl he wants don't seem to want him to. It seems the feelings that she had her through. Cause day and night, the lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. He's all alone through the day and night. The lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. At night. Day and night.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The Justice Department is investigating Missouri Democrat Cori Bush for her campaign spending on security services. The outspoken squad member who has been at the forefront of the Defund the Police movement confirmed the investigation, denied any wrongdoing, and said her campaign is fully cooperating. Bush, who is black, said she used campaign funds as permissible to pay for security, but did not use any federal tax dollars. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is delaying migrant shelter evictions. He announced he will extend the 60-day deadline for asylum seekers in the city's temporary emergency shelter system. All shelter residents originally were scheduled to exit on February 1st. Mid-March is the new date. The move by the mayor, who is black, follows pressure from more than a dozen aldermen who signed a letter urging Johnson to delay evictions. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Can't wait weeks for your tax refund? Then don't. At Jackson Hewitt, get money today if you're approved for a no-fee refund advance loan on a prepaid card. Book today at jacksonhewitt.com. No-fee refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Got me a damn girl on my team.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe we have the best tag team in morning radio. Dominique DePrima and Tavis Smiley. As the first black woman in Los Angeles to anchor a morning drive talk radio show, Dominique covers local politics like a blanket. Weekday mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., Dominique passes the baton to Tavis Smiley, who talks to everybody about everything every day until 12 noon. KBLA's dynamic duo, Dominique and Tavis. It's no wonder the LA Civil Rights Department is honoring Dominique DePrima this year at its Tell Our Story honoring black journalist leaders and storytellers event, Thursday, February 8th. Or that the John M. Langston Bar Association of Los Angeles is honoring Tavis Smiley at its 47th Annual Installation and Scholarship Awards Gala with its Community Impact Award on February 10th. We couldn't be more proud of Dominique and Tavis, who make black history every day, not just in February. If you're missing Dominique and Tavis weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Holla, yeah.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. But there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
If you say you care about the community, you have to also care about the climate. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chucha's opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chucha's Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart Plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
the scene. With the brown and black on the same team. The rap game seems so messed up. If a real G ever got in, I know he's stressed up. These fools soaked up our hood game, got fame, and loped up using our name. It's a shame you got rich off of our stretch and stripe. And you ain't never gang banged in your life. Your wife the one who really wear the pants in the house. So answer this, is you a man or a mouse? Tricky like Mickey when it come to cheese. Yeah, you took a little quickie from the G's, but that's cool though. You did a do-low. But after every show, now the homies ask where that food go. And soon you'll know just what we bothered about when you hear my homies hollering out. Where all the east side riders at? Where all the west side riders at? Where all the north side riders at? Where all the south side riders at? Where all the east side riders at? Where all the west side riders at? Where all the north side riders at? Where all the south side riders at?
Welcome back into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Little Cam, whoop whoop. Real West Coast hip hop deep. DJ Pooh. You know, sometimes I forget that DJ Pooh actually produced and, you know, occasionally jumped on a track or two. Right? Like, I mostly think about him co-writing Friday.
That's what I was going to say. Directed as well, too, or is that...
What, Friday the movie?
Yeah.
I mean, F. Gary Gray directed it.
So what was DJ Pooh's role?
He wrote.
He wrote, okay.
And, I mean, he was involved all around in the production. I think
acted, too.
He did.
That's my grandmama chain.
You know, he did that. He did do that. And DJ Pooh always used to have the comedy in his videos back in the day. Again, real West Coast.
I want to give DJ Pooh his flowers.
He should get his flowers.
Because I think... I'm going to call him a legend. I'm going to call him an unsung legend.
Definitely, especially for the West Coast.
100%.
What he did, so shout out to him. Listen, welcome back into RSVP with Jill Munroe and KBLA Talk 1580. You know, we're going to give you a little West Coast history every now and again, because that's what we do. The chat on YouTube, as always, is bustling. There's some comments going on. Fahima says, I don't think Homeboy will be inviting Gayle King on a date again, as she is now known to lend and then tell all. I mean, nobody likes someone that, you know, share. But here's the thing. We hear stories from men all the time sharing bad financial deals, interactions, things that have gone wrong. Why do people get so offended when women share their experiences and stories? Why is it seen as so egregious? Just because he paid her back? Is she not? You know, here's the thing. Men get asked for money for women, you know, for things.
All the time.
All the time. And sometimes those women would pay them back or things of that nature, or they like that.
But we won't make a big deal of it. It's expected for you guys to ask us for bread.
But you do. You know, it just depends. It just depends. Listen, I don't know. Andy, what, you were going to say something else?
I mean, just like, come on, Gayle. Like, just calm down.
Ease up, ease up.
And quite frankly, I mean, she could have easily just said no. She obviously, there was some sort of trust there to even give him that amount of money.
I think she wanted to be, but it just didn't feel good, you know?
She should have said no.
Sometimes you try.
She should have said no.
Well, you know, she said no more. So, same thing. Same thing.
She probably would have felt even worse if he didn't pay her back.
You know what? Probably, but at the same time, that would have been expected. It just, you know, altogether, probably just, she was not the right person to.
Should have been brownie points, though. You know what I'm saying?
Why?
Like, because
you paying back a debt you owe. That's what you're supposed to do.
But
you don't
that's
get a
my
quickie
point,
for that.
though. But that's my point,
That's what
though.
you're supposed to do.
The stereotype is that he probably wouldn't have paid her back. Right? Or she would have assumed that, you know, I don't know.
Okay, can I tell, did you hear about what is the guy that, it was a documentary on Netflix. He was like a want ads or an app. He romanced women and he scammed them out of all of their money.
I haven't heard about that.
Okay, so in all of the things, he had some investment or whatever, and he borrowed money from them one time and paid them back. And then later came the bigger ass and the bigger amounts and wiped them all out. So part of that is a scheme thing too. I'm just saying, it just wasn't comfortable. Too soon, probably. He may have not felt that way. She obviously did. Too soon. Got to protect yourself, you know. Look
Respect.
at that.
She could have easily said no, though.
She could have. But she was trying to, you know, be fair. Didn't work out for everybody. But he got his furniture and his child support paid. Amen to that. Maurice in the chat says, shoot, Oprah helped her. Who was she before their friendship? By her hanging around, oh, she got shine. Don't let money run your entire life from growing good male companionship. He did pay her back. He did. You guys don't. This is why people get taken advantage of, because they don't see the red flags, or at least the triggers that are going. Now, if later on down the line, again, if something happened and she started nagging him, everybody would be saying, well, when she first saw the signs of that, she should have got up out of there.
But even if the second time comes around, you could easily say no. Don't be a fool. Protect yourself. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you feel that it's a red flag already. Like, damn, he's already asking me a second time. Let me go ahead and pump the brakes right now and be like, look, I already shot you 4K the last time. Don't make this a habit.
Maybe she doesn't even want to have those conversations.
Well, you don't want to be in no relationship then.
She doesn't want to be in
sorry.
a relationship with
That's
that
the problem.
one.
You think everything's about to be perfect and smooth. Y'all gonna bump heads and disagree with some things.
No, but money is a sensitive thing. And I feel like people are in denial sometimes about what money and those conversations and those slight triggers, sometimes unspoken ones, that the conversations aren't had. That causes a lot of issues in relationships, especially with women that are in media, perhaps, or in positions of power. We've seen a lot of examples of those women being taken care of by trying to be open and just love someone and get this companionship no matter where from. Not no matter where from, but do you know what I'm saying? Being open to all types of situations and scenarios. The Tinder Swindler. Shout out to Urban Spinster. That's what the documentary is called. The Tinder Swindler. And that is what he did. He borrowed a little bit of money first, paid him back, and then bam. Andy's not riding with me. Listen, shout out to Brother Alfonso in the chat. Fahima says, once again, if he didn't pay her back, that would be the story. I just told y'all. Forensic Accountant says, who was Gayle? A woman with her own career. She was. Shout out to that. I mean, listen, fair. He did pay her back. Respect due. But if that made her uncomfortable, that's fair too. If it was a man and a woman was like, after 2 months, hey, babe, I need $4,000 to, give my baby extra Pampers and formula, whatever the case may be, and to pay my rent. I know, but men would still be like, she just trying,
I'd be like,
she in the pocket.
But if I got it, I'd still give it to her, though. And probably wouldn't even trip. I mean, the expectations, the stereotypes, I get it. It's just the other way around. And she had a problem with that.
Indeed, indeed. Urban Spinster added about the Tinder swindler. He would also wine and dine them, taking them on lavish excursions with the other woman's money before he asked, so it appeared as if he could pay them back. And, here's the thing. Just because you are making 6 figures doesn't mean that you are flush. We don't know what sometimes people have debts, sometimes people have habits. Clearly he had child support payments. Something was awry at the time, I don't know. I'm not mad at Gayle for wanting to slow things down a little bit. Listen, when we come forward, we're going to get into Byron Allen's bid for the Paramount Global Network, the next upcoming guest on Club Shay Shay, plus a whole lot more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Environmental justice is racial justice.
Environmental justice is social justice.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit lafla.org. lafla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, I got a question for you. Feel free to call in 800-920-1580. Or if you're in the YouTube chat, feel free to answer there. And while you're there, like, comment, share, subscribe. We appreciate that. I want to know, because someone mentioned that who was Gayle but Oprah's friend that got an opportunity. At what point, even if you get a boost from someone, if you get an assist, if you then go and score the basket, they don't give those points to the person that threw you the lob, threw you the pass. They give them an assist and they give you the points. At what point do you start giving these individuals, because we talk a lot about nepotism and people getting put on, at what point do you give them credit for their own work in the lane that they have carved themselves, even if they have received some sort of help or leg up? Because I feel like there's a lot of discounting of what Gayle does and what she brings. And I understand being Oprah's best friend is a boost and a bonus, right? It is. There's no denying that. But I also think that she does the work to solidify not just her spot as Oprah's homegirl, but as, a journalist, a media personality, that the respect should be given about her decades in the game as well. Andy?
Unfortunately, we don't respect stuff like that. Me and my boy, we had a conversation about Kobe versus LeBron, the GOAT debate, right? Mm-hmm. And his whole thing was, well, Kobe's dad was in the league, so I gotta give LeBron the GOAT status because, he came from a single parent household and, he pretty much got it from the mud. So, unfortunately, it seems as if we just don't respect nepotism, or we don't respect a handout. We're going to go ahead and respect that individual who came from nothing, who made a way for themselves.
And, it's like, of course, we all appreciate getting it out of the mud and facing incredible obstacles, but isn't the whole notion of getting out of the mud to get to a place where you have a little bit more breathing room so that you can assist your family or your friends a little bit more, so that there's a little bit of space? Like, I know that this is going to hit probably in a weird sort of way, but there's a study that has been done and it impacts, middle class Black people as well, but in a different sort of way. But really probably primarily, I would say, middle class whites. But those kids that are in the middle, those are the ones that have bigger problems, for example, making it into college. And you know why? Because they kind of have everything there. So, what are they going to do that's outstanding? You know, everybody kind of has good grades along with them because they're all right there getting that boost up. So, I say that to say that there is some work that comes, and I'm not just talking about white people, I'm talking about us now. You know, like the Gayle Kings or the Kobe's. We know how much time Kobe spent in the gym. Yes, he came from an environment that was privileged financially, but we know that there was challenges even within that. There were challenges living overseas, even though it sounds glamorous. There's something to that. And I think it's unfair sometimes the way that we especially kind of take down our own because they didn't struggle in the same way that we did. Because, you know, everybody goes through something and it may not be the same, but it doesn't mean that they aren't struggling, didn't have to overcome obstacles, or didn't have to put in hard work. I think it's just, you know, a little unfair.
Once we stop praising the individual and start praising the collective, this is going to continue to happen.
Will we ever not praise the individual, though? I mean, we've always done that. I mean, even
that's the problem, though, is what I'm saying.
Think about, even if you think about, like, with Jesus, right? And his message. Any, in theory, of his disciples were able to share that message, right? He, of course, could perform the miracles, but
I mean, they still worked collaboratively.
Right, they did.
So that's what it's all about. Like they say, you know, it takes a village.
It does take a village.
So,
but sometimes, but here's the thing, though. If you're just working in a collective effort, and we get to the, you know, the next level, the greater good, do sometimes people feel underappreciated or undervalued if they aren't given that? You did a really great job in this instance. Isn't that a human thing?
I mean, it's a human thing, but you know that's where, you know, people have to acknowledge one's efforts. You know, if we're going to be working collectively, okay, you do A and B, you do C and D. And, you know, we appreciate you for doing A and B. We appreciate you for doing C and D. I think sometimes, obviously, in the mix of it, you know, yeah, we tend to forget what this individual did with A and B, what this individual did with C and D. All it takes is just, you know, acknowledgement.
Right.
And I think that would just make things better.
I think so, too. You know, but we'll have to see.
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done. I mean, you know, kudos to Gayle. I'm not going to just label her as just Oprah's friend. She's more than that. So shout out to her. You know, different choices for different people. So listen, Byron Allen, we've been hearing a lot about him. We know that Byron has been buying up different media properties over the past few years, and he has an interesting way that he goes about it. A lot of it involves, you know, legal situations, but obviously he has a plan and he is working towards something, and we, you know, like to support and see Black business and, you know, us working to build things, right? So he's put in a bit, there is a discrepancy, two different trades put in two different numbers. So one is saying 14 billion, that was Hollywood Reporter. Another is saying up to 30 billion on a bid for, you know, the shares of Paramount Global, which we've heard different things about. At one point they were selling BET and VH1, then they were going to do this thing, then they've recently combined Showtime with Paramount Plus. So a lot of things are happening within that. And Byron's bottom line is, as he's also threatened to launch a lawsuit against them, he is offering the best deal, and to not take it would be putting their shareholders in an awkward position because they are being offered this deal and what could be the possible reason for it not being accepted. So we'll have to see what happens, what develops with that. On the line, we have JW from South Central LA. Good evening, JW. Welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing well. I was motivated to call in because you mentioned Byron Allen, and one thing I really admire about you, other than just I guess I would say gossip, you bring in some information that is entertaining as well. And I love your class and your tact and your quality and how you be real, I guess I'll use the word, use discretion. But anyway, with Byron, one thing I admire about him, he speaks the truth and he knows how to use what America was founded on, laws, the legal system. So that's how he became successful from day one. Now, before I lose train of thought, I wanted to make a reference to like when you made a comment about Kobe Bryant, Gayle, and anybody else, LeBron James, and the difference between having a hand up or struggling from, the flow up or whatever, the gutter or, how I use that analogy. I think that too many black people has bought into society or the system narrative, which is something that I believe is a the term I always like to use. It's a literary term or a political term as well, but you can use it if you're writing the book, which is narrative. And the narrative is always based on fiction or non-facts or not reality, but like a fantasy or a dream or something made up or make-believe or something that's fabricated. And I learned that word way back in the 60s when I was a kid, just before I went to junior high school when Herbert Hoover was creating the false information about Martin Luther King Jr. and it said the FBI had a file of fabricated information, which is falsehoods or narratives or misdirections or lies or untruths. So when you use laws,
JW, I'm going to pause you and I'm going to carry you over because we are about to go into hour 2 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. We're going to hear more from JW. We're going to wrap up that Byron Allen topic, plus get into Rick Ross and his family drama and a few other family ties that are having a little internet drama out there. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trying to say it stand for your group. But like Toucan Sam Cam can always smell a fruit. Where all the east side riders at? Where all the west side riders at? Where all the north side riders at? Where all the south side riders at? Where all the east side riders at? Where all the west side riders at? Where all the north side riders at? Where all the south side riders at? Can't see these G's in no kind of way. So what you wanna do? What you trying to say?